Come on, man. That's a way to close out the road trip, baby. Come on.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 W's. Battle tested. It's a hell of a win. 4-0 on the road trip. Back to Atlanta, baby. Back to Atlanta.
That's ATL.
That's ATL.
I told you we good, man.
No dunking.
I told y'all we good, man. Yes, sir.
Welcome in, Hawks fans. Your boy Rice is back at it again for another Believe in Hawks episode. What a way to end the West Coast road trip for Atlanta, finishing the road trip 4-0 and ending on fantastic, dramatic fashion, coming down multiple points in the fourth quarter to come back and beat the Phoenix Suns. And really to be 22 with less than 10 minutes to go in the fourth, then going on a 20-0 run and just, dude, I think they said after the game, this is the first time the Atlanta Hawks have swept the West Coast road trip ever in their franchise's history. And this team did it and made history in that regard. So, we're going to break it all down today. Obviously, the Hawks, 5 in a row, feeling great. Second longest winning streak in the Eastern Conference. Jalen and Okongwu, another big game for Jalen Walker. Nickeil Alexander-Walker with a big game. Just every game, different guys stepping up. Some of the guys that you expect, and then some guy you never know. It could be Nickeil one night. It may be Krejci another night. You just don't know who can step up for this team and produce. And that when they do that, and you have that unpredictability, it makes the team unpredictable, and that can sometimes be a very dangerous thing in the NBA. So, like I said, we're going to talk about all that today on the pod. Before we get into that, obviously, if it's your first time watching or if you came back, you enjoy the content, you enjoy this episode, subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below and like the video. If you listen to me through audio, leave me 5 stars. Always appreciate it, always love. And then also follow me on Twitter at Bricey_2K, BRICEY_2K if you want to keep up with me there. When I tweet about the Hawks, you want to interact with me, whatever. All in, all cool, all love. So definitely appreciate you supporting your boy and everything. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. The Hawks, last game of the West Coast trip, right? I said after they beat the Clippers, I said, and I knew the Clippers the Suns were good, but I said the Clippers were kind of the team to me that I was like, they beat them. I think they have a good shot at going 4-0 on this road trip. They beat them, right? You had, and then you kind of handled business in Sacramento. You whooped Sacramento. Then you have that crazy game in Utah. I wish I could have did a podcast after the game. I've just been so busy. But, Jalen Johnson, Jalen and Okongwu coming up big in that game. Wild game. Everybody hitting threes. Like, it was an insane game. And then you go into the Phoenix Suns game, right? First half, for the most part, I would say the Hawks were the better team. And then third quarter, you're hanging in there. And then Quinn goes with, a lineup that I know a lot of people aren't really happy with. Suns make a run. They get up a big amount. You're like going into the fourth quarter, like, dang, it's over. We're cooked. I guess we're going to go 3-1 on the road trip. Winning streak is snapped. And, we just got to kind of start another win against Detroit. And then 20-0 run in the game. And now you're back in it. Energy is different. Team is hype. Everybody's excited. And you're able to take it all the way home. And, it's just one of those things that I think has changed about this team and kind of reminds me a little bit of the 2021 team. If you remember that team, one thing that team had was fight, resiliency. You knew the Hawks were not going to give up. They were going to keep fighting. And that sometimes was able to win them games. Like, think about it. Sixers had a lead, in game 7, we come back. We come back in that game and we win. I think game 5 that series, we were down. It was either game 5. I think it was game 5. We were down. We came back, came all the way back and won that game 5. Stole game 5 to go up 3-2 in the series. Like, last year, Chicago, we remember the 25-point. I think we won the quarter by 25 points. We had a 50-point fourth quarter against Chicago. Came back down, I think 25 points in the quarter. Or I don't know what the exact number, but I mean, we remember that comeback they had, that exhilarating comeback in Chicago. And, in the last couple of years, I mean, we've seen comebacks because in the NBA, but it never felt like this Hawks team, when they were in certain situations, if certain things happened, you knew we're probably dead in the water. We're not going to make a comeback. Or as they would say, we make a lot of fake comebacks where it's like, oh, here they go making a run, knowing they're not going to actually take the lead. And now with this team, I just get a sense of fight, resiliency. They believe they can win any game at any moment. There is a sense of cohesion. There is a sense of true continuity amongst the team. And you've seen it. You've seen it in the way they play. Because for the most part, through this winning streak, a lot of their wins have just been, we were able to keep the game close, keep the game competitive, make a run. I mean, the Clippers game was probably the other game where you were down early. First quarter was not a good quarter for them. And then the second quarter, they're able to kind of wind it back up. Krejci goes crazy. And then hope in this team. And, one of the impressive things about this stretch, right, without Trae Young, is that so many people are focusing on the absence of Trae Young. But remember, they've won games without Jalen Johnson. They've won games without Kristaps Porzingis. They've won games without Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They've won game out Luke Kennard. They have missed some guys during this stretch of games without Trae since he's been hurt, without other guys on top of Trae. And so many people want to focus on, are we better without Trae? And it's like, brother, we're winning without other key players. And to me, that just shows you this team is way better filled out than they've ever been. One of the biggest issues of this team was the depth. You get past Trae goes down, Jalen goes down, somebody goes down, and now all of a sudden this team is just dead in the water. Like it felt like if we lost any of our top guys, we would not have enough left, and the reserves are coming off the bench. And I think that's something that I think they wanted to change this year. That's why they made the additions they had, but also development. Guys like a Vic Krejci that they can count on to come in, and now you're at a point where you may be having Vic Krejci come into the game, and he could just go crazy from three. He could. Like I said, Porzingis is going to miss back-to-backs, and there'll be other games he'll miss, and it's like, I've said this. They don't have to rush guys like Porzingis back because you have Azanul, Mo Gay, Okongwu, Jalen Johnson, who can hold it down while other guys are out. That's quality depth. That's how you build a team. I've always said this. People are talking about the future of different guys. People are talking about, trade KP. There was rumors that the Hawks may explore trading KP. Yeah, trade a win now center for another win now center. I don't know. Obviously people are going to bring up the Trae Young conversation. And again, I'm like, the one thing Ansi Salah has always talked about is having optionality, having the option. Great teams have options, right? You don't want to be in a position where you have to stay healthy or we're cooked. Now, obviously, when I say that, there's a difference in saying we're cooked like we're going to be a bad team and we're cooked like we wouldn't win a championship. The Hawks are trying to enter that realm where, hey, we need you to win a championship, not we need you just to get into the play-in. That's where the Hawks were the last couple of years. You lose Jalen, you lose Trae, you're pretty much barely a play-in team. Hopefully, Riche's fine. I'm assuming he'll miss Tuesday after a fall like that. But the fact that the team, Nickeil kind of said it after the game. He said that kind of lit a fire under us because it's that, you always talk about brotherhood in the locker room and that togetherness in the locker room. And, he said that lit a fire under us and they certainly play like it because it's almost like you're going to battle, you're going to war with your brother. And that was in the middle of the 20-0 run too with the Riche injury. And it was almost like, oh, okay, like you're going to do that to one of us, one of my guys. All right, we're going to keep coming. And that's what they did. And so, I'm really proud of the group tonight. Really great effort all around. Jalen Johnson continues to play really, really well. He's played great this week. He should be Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Jalen and Okongwu has been incredible. If y'all have been listening to me, y'all know I've been a big Jalen and Okongwu guy. I've said that y'all some of y'all want him traded, and I'm like, brother, why y'all want to get rid of why y'all want to get rid of that? Why don't y'all want that on the roster? I don't understand it. That's what be killing me about y'all. Like, y'all be wanting to get rid of productive players for what? Oh, well, I don't think he's tall enough. Okay, like Not every player is perfect. You got to take the good with the bad. I feel like y'all always are trying to find the perfect player. And then after that, y'all be like, well, he doesn't do this well enough, or he doesn't do this well enough. And brother, Okongwu can hit threes. This man has stepped up his scoring in the last 2 games. He and Jalen have played really good basketball together. Can we stop hating on the Okongwu, please? Can we stop it? Let's give the man his flowers. And like I said, even Nickeil Alexander-Walker tonight, he had some big buckets. And, it's funny because Nickeil's a guy who a lot of people kind of ask the question about him taking as many shots as he does because he's aggressive offensively. He takes shots. And, people are like, oh, sometimes I wish he could be a better playmaker, turns the ball over, takes too many shots. And I'm like, guys, listen, like I said, you take the good with the bad. Good with the bad. Because sometimes, could Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the way he's shooting, have a bad night and be like, brother, you were terrible and that hurt us? Absolutely. But could he also have a night where he scores 25 points and he helps you? Absolutely. It's part of it. NBA season, 82 games. Many things are going to happen across the season. Many things. We can't just say because, and you can also think about it. Trey went down. So, like I've said, people have to step up offensive production while he's gone. That means guys have to take more shots. Nickeil clearly said, I will be one of those guys. And I think it's been effective for him. He's been a solid guy for us. And I hope people appreciate him for what he does, because not only does he bring that really good defense, he brings energy. He brings he just brings a winning. Because I said one thing about this team this offseason that I think was very important for them was not just the fact that they added some good players. They added players who came from winning environments. Kristaps Porzingis is an NBA champion. He knows how to win at the highest level. He has won at the highest level. He has been around a winning culture in Boston for the last couple of years. Like, he knows what it takes. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been a part of 2 Western Conference Finals teams the last 2 years in Minnesota. He's been around what it takes. He was with the Minnesota team last year that was kind of lulling through the season, up and down, got close to the postseason. Boom, they win all these games, and now they're making a run towards the Western Conference Finals. Like, they know how to win, and then you're combining that with guys like Jalen Johnson, who's hungry to win, Okongwu, who's hungry to win, Trey, who's hungry to win, and you bring all that together, and then you get what you get, where people who know how to win with people who want to win, boom, now you're creating a winner, and you're creating a winning environment in Atlanta. And so I just think that, we got to really give credit to what happened, because I think, this game is kind of one of those games that you look at as like, we can play with anybody. We're never out of it. We always have a shot, and we're resilient. So really good stuff there, man. Because if you look at the stats, team stats tonight, Hawks shot 53% from the field. Suns shot 48%. Hawks and Suns both shot 33% from 3. Both teams had 17 turnovers. Hawks had 35 assists to the Suns 23. Dylan Brooks had some crazy games tonight. Crazy. Hawks, I will say this. Rebounding has still been an issue for this team, and looks like it will be an issue all season long. But I think in the first half, the Suns really were able to really dominate the Hawks on the boards. I think in the second half, the Hawks did a better job of just being competitive. I always said, if you're not going to beat someone on every given night on a certain, like a strength of your team rebounding, be competitive. Keep it close. Don't let it be a big deficit, because when it does, that's how they start to take advantage of you. And if you look at the final one, the Hawks had 34 rebounds to the Suns 47. The Suns had 16 offensive rebounds to the Hawks 9. But in the first half, that was a bigger gap than was in the second half. And I think that also helped the Hawks get back into the game. So, like I said, really good stuff there from the Hawks. So, like I said, come back, make that 20-0 run, and get back and win the game and make plays at the end, and do what you got to do. So let's look at some player performances. So, like I said, Jalen Johnson's been on a tear the last few games. Tonight, 25, 10, and 7, 2 of 3 from 3. Listen, Jalen too. It's funny about Jalen because people have just been like, oh my God, he may be the best player in the Atlanta Hawks. Like people I mean, I've been a big Jalen guy. And people have asked the question, could he be better than Trae Young? Especially in a game nowadays where wings are so important and wings are so just, it feels like you got to have an elite wing if you're going to win in this league. You can't have the elite guard, no elite wings. You got to have the elite wing, right? And Jalen is the Hawks wing, right? And he, in the last 4 games, I guess he had 25, 10, and 7 tonight. Last game, 31, 18, and 14. The game before that, 24, 10, and 8. And then the game before that, 16, 10, and 8. That man has been on triple-double watch the last 4 games. They're 4-0 in the last 4 games. He's been incredible. He's the youngest forward this century to record 3 straight games with 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, over 50% shooting from the field. And essentially, like I've said, I mean, Jalen's he's been fantastic for us. He's been wonderful for us. He's really, I think, taken a step without Trae. And, people are going to be like, oh, well, does Trae hinder Jalen? I was like, I would not say that. You got to understand, Jalen's game, I think, without Trae has allowed him to be more comfortable in terms of handling the ball more and then, kind of being maybe a main primary initiator / offensive player. Because sometimes a guy just has to get reps. And when he gets those reps, now it's like, oh, okay. Because you would think with Trae, his game would work with a wing because now they can kind of feed off each other. It's harder when Trae's ball dominant to be like another guard. It's like when we saw that with DeJounte. With Jalen, it's like you easily could have him bring the ball up the floor with Trae, have Trae bring up the ball, run some 2-man action, and kind of play through each other. And I think Jalen, like I said, he's been really good for us, and he's been making jump shots in there. Like everybody says, and I'll say it here, Jalen keeps making jump shots, it's over. Like if he's one of those guys, if he hits the jump shot consistently, like you can't stop him. Freight train coming down the lane, and he can pull up on you. What you gonna do? And he taking mid ranges. I told y'all a couple episodes ago. I'm like, y'all notice Hawks taking mid range shots. They didn't do that the first couple of years under Quinn Snyder. They're doing that this year. So big game for Jalen Johnson. Jalen Okongwu, man, like I mentioned earlier, underappreciated guy. 27, 4 and 5 tonight. Just all over the field. All over the court. The last 3 games for Jalen Okongwu, he had the 27, 4 and 5 tonight. He had 32, 11, and 8 in the last game in terms of 8 3-pointers made. And then he had 21, 3 and 2 in the Kings game. Again, Yeka playing really good basketball. He's been putting the ball on the floor, driving, being aggressive. He has shown his ability to pass, which is something Quinn's talked about in the past. He is a very solid passing center. And then not on top of just being a good passing center, he makes the right read. That's always a big part. You may be able to pass, but you make the right read. Yeka does a pretty good job with that. And then obviously we've talked. In that Jazz game, he hit like 8 threes. Like a Yeka Okongwu hitting that many threes, like he is becoming a 3-point shooting threat. Like he is literally like, I can just 3 you to death, and that just makes him such a more versatile, dangerous player. And so again, it just kind of goes to what I said about this team where guys are stepping up, guys are coming into the roles, guys have developed, and they're seeing the fruits of their labor right now against, teams that, like the Suns are a good team. The Suns are they're going to be a good team this year. And so really big performance from Yeka Okongwu to come out and play the way he did. So, and I will still be like, y'all need to get off my man Yeka, give him his respect, give him his love. I don't see how you see 27 points and say, and he's our leading scorer tonight, and say, I need that off my team. I just don't see that. Dyson Daniels tonight, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 12 assists. He was also on triple-double watch. Again, as a playmaker, he's made a lot of strides from last year. If you remember Dyson Daniels when he was the primary creator, when Trae would come off the floor, it was a little rough at times. It was sometimes it wasn't the best, but I think, it was something that he needed in terms to just get reppage and just get more comfortable with. And I think this year you're kind of seeing him look really, really good doing it. And now he's having these 8 assists, 9 assists, 13 assists, which is a career high, and 12 assist games like tonight. And you're just seeing him kind of, again, adding another facet to his game where Dyson may not be a guy who's going to score for you, but he'll get on the boards with you. He'll give you what he can offensively. He obviously can play make, and then he gives you his defense. He gives you his ability to create steals. Like, he had 3 tonight. I mean, y'all know what Dyson Daniels brings to the table. And just him being a multifaceted player who doesn't have to do one thing to be effective for a team, who can do multiple things and still be effective for a team, I think is a very important trait and why he's such a key to what this team is trying to do. Like I said, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 26 points tonight, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 50% from the field. Like I said, he's been aggressive offensively during this stretch without Trey. He's trying to get this team offense that they need to be able to, maintain. And, sometimes is it pretty when he's playing point guard and having to make plays? No. But at the same time, I mean, he's giving you production. He gave you 26 big points tonight in a game that you needed it, against the Suns where they, Darren Brooks at 34, Devin Booker at 27. They had their guys go off for him, and he was able to say, hey, Jalen and Okongwu, let me come with you. And he came with him, and he did a good job of, just, making plays in that fourth quarter and making the right reads as well. Had that big 4-point play in the corner, and then he had a good drive and a layup. So, I mean, this guy, he's done a lot of great things. Obviously, Zach tonight, 15, 3, and 4. Had a good night tonight. Zach's been playing better overall the last few games. Obviously, we'll see how long he's out with that hip injury. Like I said, scary, scary fall that he had in the game. You always hate those plays. You always feel like those plays be dirty. Did they give him a clean landing place and things of that nature? Because sometimes players, when they do those types of plays, they're keeping also an eye on who's behind them, so they're not falling on somebody. And sometimes, you bump them the wrong way or touch them. That could, with their momentum's going forward, and then they fall, and now they have an injury, and people are like, what is that? And the Suns immediately just went and played basketball right after that. And I think it's funny because I think Dylan Brooks after the game was like, they need to tee him up for trying to foul in that situation and not even play basketball. But then everybody else is like, well, the ref needs to stop the game because you clearly just saw an injury that you need to stop the game for. So, I hope Zach's not out too long. Like I said, he played decent tonight. And I think he's a big part of what they're trying to do moving forward. So if he doesn't play, I would think maybe you see potentially maybe Caleb Houston get some minutes in place of him not starting, but maybe he'll crack the rotation just to give you another guy, another wing. That would be my thought process. I mean, he could shorten the lineup, but I don't think you want to shorten Keaton, Vic, and Kennard. So that would be my thing if they do decide to do that. Vic Krejci tonight, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He did some good things tonight, nothing too crazy. First game, he was in hot from 3, 1 from 5. So kind of went back to normal today, but I mean, obviously appreciate everything Krejci's game for us. Vic going Krejci is my favorite nickname people have been giving him. Vic going Krejci. I love it. But overall, do what you need to do. Keaton Wallace, 5 points. We have the same conversation every game. Why does he play? Well, listen, I've said this too. People were like, we're better without Trae Young. Brother, you play the same rotation, take out Keaton Wallace, put in Trae Young. Are we worse? Or are we better? Okay. Luke Kennard tonight really didn't give you anything. Kind of just had some cardio tonight. 12 minutes, 1 rebound, no shots made. Mo Gay, 10 minutes tonight. His minutes fluctuate every game. Guess Quinn said this wasn't really a game for him. And then Newell had 8 points, though. He was active in his 9 minutes of play. 8 points, 2 of 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. So good stuff from the Rook tonight and everything like that. So I would assume Porzingis is back next game. We'll see if that knee injury keeps him out any longer. I know Trey's been on this team. He tweeted out after the game, vibes are high right now, and I think that is very much how a lot of people feel right now about the Atlanta Hawks. Like I said, 5 in a row, second longest winning streak in the Eastern Conference, coming back down, 20-plus points in the fourth quarter, 20-0 run. There's everything you want to see from a team, the resiliency to fight that you want to see from a team they did tonight, and really good win, man. And like I said, they have a very tough game coming up against Detroit. A lot of people ain't going to favor him in that game. Detroit's also the other hottest team in the Eastern Conference. I wonder if they have a line on that game already. They might not, though. Let me see here. They don't have I don't see. I mean, I'm sure. I'm just looking at Bleacher Report, but I'm sure there's a line on the game, and I think that's also the Pistons' second of a back-to-back. So we'll see if that packs who they decide to play that game. But like I said, man, big game coming up. I will be there. I will be covering the game. Don't know if I'll do a pod. I might just do more like some more professional news stand-up stuff for the game, but we'll see how it goes. But overall, like I said, good win tonight for the Hawks. Jalen shines, Okongwu shines, Nikhil shines. Coming back down, 4-quarter comeback, wild into the road trip, West Coast trip, 4-0 on the West Coast trip, and just good stuff all around from the team, man. So really good stuff. But I think that's about it for me. If y'all like this episode, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment down below. Audio listeners, leave a rating, 5 stars, hopefully. And then follow me on Twitter at Bryce_2K as well if you want to catch it with me there and just talk Hawks with me and everything under the sun. So we'll see what happens. But yes, like I said, next game Tuesday is the Detroit Pistons, man. So maybe y'all might catch me out there a little bit. But that's all for me, man. It's your boy Bryce Lewis. See you next time.